My ex and I met in college. She was the most beautiful girl I had ever seen. She always had a crowd of guys following her around. I had some classes with her over the 4 years, but I never pursued her because, well, all the other guys. One day after class, she asked if I would study with her, and the rest is history. So we married, starting our careers in the same industry, different companies, a male-dominated industry. I found immediate success while she struggled. She changed jobs in the first year. She continued to struggle. In the third year, she became pregnant with our first son. She worked through the pregnancy. A few weeks after giving birth in a routine physical, her doctor asked to do a biopsy of her cervix. The results came back, and precancerous cells were found. The doctor advised if we wanted more children to do it as quick as possible, as this will progress and hysterectomy will be needed eventually. So when she was up to it, she became pregnant again. She gave birth again to a boy within a year of each other. Afterward, more tests were done, and different doctors advised us to do the procedure now as we should not wait. With 2 babies, still infants, she had her procedure done. She was heartbroken that she was done having children, as we had wanted a large family. She poured herself into being a great mother, and she was. She became a stay-at-home mom. She took care of everything at home. Meanwhile, my career was moving along. I was offered a position with another company with a large salary bump. Life is good. When the boys went off to school, she volunteered at school and was a fixture there. I should mention that we had close friends we went to school with, A and B. We saw each other often. They started their family about the same time we did. They have 1 son. The families went on vacations together, dinner and outings. We were best of friends. After the son was born, the mother went back to work and is very successful. B had a good job also until about 2001, when his job was eliminated. He struggled to find work in his field as the economy back then really affected his field. So the decision was he would be a stay-at-home dad while looking for work where we lived, as they did not want to move. The ex and B did things together with the kids. When the kids were all in school, they still hung out. You can now guess they had an affair. This story I know is long, but not over. After about a year of this, hot sex and the AM, B asked my ex if she and I had ever talked about a threesome. It was all fantasy talk with us, as we were still having a great, if not slowing down, sexual relationship. B had a friend he wanted to bring into the bedroom with them. The ex agreed. The day came and this guy C came over to B's house. He took his suit off as X and B got warmed up. So they had their threesome. Afterward, the guy told them that he usually had to pay for sex, so he left a couple $100 bills and asked my ex if he could have a one-on-one with them. She told him she needed to think about that and B would get back to him. Eventually, C recommended someone else and a business was born. Eventually, B was reemployed and had to leave my ex on her own. She used a different cell phone. She rented out a storage unit and made it her closet and office. She used the money to buy outfits her clientele requested. She even bought a car. She didn't want her minivan spotted at a hotel. The guys had to pay for a room at a nice hotel. She kept the car at the storage unit, and everything was in cash. She never brought the money into our lives that I know of, though we would send the kids to different day camps during the summer. She claimed she tightened up our budget to pay for it. She only worked during school hours. She always picked the boys up at school. On a few rare occasions, B would pick them up and keep them until she got home. Our home life never suffered. I admit, I was working a ton and moving up the ladder. The weekends were our family time. Sex was generally on the weekends. I thought because of my work life, this worked best. Most nights, we would cuddle on the couch watching TV. 2016 comes along, and we have 1 son in college and the other a senior in high school. I get a call from B saying my ex is in the hospital. He was vague but said she is hurt badly. I rushed to the hospital and find my wife hooked up to a bunch of machines. They have already cleaned her up and taken her for X-rays. She has a broken jaw, broken nose, fractured orbital bone and possible concussion. I was told she will make it, but it will be a long road ahead. A police officer was finishing up and left. I, of course, want to know what happened. She was crying, talking gibberish through her sob and pain meds. The nurse said I should let her rest. They were moving her to a room soon. She handed me a bag with her clothes. I looked in and asked if these were hers because she never wears heels and the dress was unfamiliar. The nurse said this is what they brought from the hotel room. So they pushed me out of the room and I called my sons to let them know. After that night, when the fog of the drugs were wearing off, I got some of the story. She drifted off again. I had my youngest son sit in with her and I called B. Why did he call me? How did he know before me? What's going on? So B came clean about what my wife was up to, leaving out the affair and his involvement. I was devastated. We eventually got her home after surgery on her jaw. The nose would wait. She convalesced at home. As she got stronger, I got the whole story. I called and was told of the affair and that B was a pimp. She threw B out. As she got on her feet, I told her we were done. I asked her to move out. She moved in with B. I got the divorce rolling. I'm sitting here 5 years divorced. I still love her. It is as if she had died, though. The grief is unbearable. My boys know what she did. I have not spoken to her since she left. Update? I didn't have an update ready before as there really wasn't anything to say until last night. I received a call from my oldest son, R, who is out of town for the holiday weekend. A friend called him to tell him his brother S had been in a motorcycle accident. He was with him, but did not see the accident as he was riding ahead. I rushed to the hospital ER. They were cleaning S and were sending him for X-rays. I was told to have a seat and the doctor would be out. A few minutes later, as I had my head leaning back and my eyes closed, I heard my name. I looked up and my ex was standing in the doorway. She asked for news. I said I was waiting. She asked if she could sit with me. I invited her to a seat near me. I have not seen her in 5 years since the divorce happened. I did not know what to expect. I assumed that she would be disfigured from her beating. She was not, although her face was not as flawless as I remember. The one thing I did see was that her eyes no longer sparkled. This was a feature I never got enough of. Even with a mask on, her eyes didn't look the same. Funny what you notice. When she smiled, her face used to just light up. I imagine she just has a resting bitch face now. Anyway, while waiting, we had some nervous catching up talk. She mentioned that she liked the landscaping I did, and how the plants, now matured, really looked nice. During and after the divorce, I tried to purge any remembrance of her. I replaced the bushes in the yard as it was something she had planned and planted. I did not mention that the inside of the house was redone also. I even ripped out a wall. I had a construction dumpster in the driveway for many months. She asked how I was doing. I don't know why, but I was honest that I had put myself at a standstill by working too much. However, I recently have been to a therapist and joined a gym. I also have taken up bike riding. She stayed with B a couple of months. She also was seeing a counselor who encouraged her to take some college courses in her degree field. That took a couple of years. She is now employed full-time. The doctor appeared and discussed the extent of the injuries. The most serious were his foot and ankle, pinned under the bike when it went down. They had scheduled him for surgery today. Everything is good. He just needs to heal and rehab. So he will be in until at least tomorrow, depending on his head injury. I offered my house for him to stay in as I have the room and can work from home. We will finalize that today, although that means his mother will want to visit. That will be a healing process for me. Update 2. My son is healing well. He still has a way to go, though. We have decided that he will stay here while convalescing. He wants to go back to work next week. His boss is setting up something so he can work from home. I can barely get him in the back seat of my SUV, as he has to stretch out. It would be a nightmare driving him to work and back every day. Everyone has been asking about the ex coming over. I leave when she comes. I go to the gym or a bike ride. My oldest son has tried to have a sit-down dinner with the 4 of us, but I shut it down. She has been very gracious. She has not tried to force anything. She comes over and sits with our son. She will cook dinner for them. She brings groceries when she does cook. Sometimes his friends come over and it gets a bit rowdy for me, but it forgets about his problem when there are visitors. To say we never talk would be untrue. Our conversations do not stray from our sons or their lives. Now the excess started what many of you have said. She is doing little things around the house. My son is not all that tidy, so she is cleaning up after him and doing his dishes. She will make a meal for him and always leaves a plate for me. I tell my son that can be his lunch the next day. She asked me the other night if I would be interested in going out to dinner tonight, as my son has some friends coming over. I told her no. A little later she mentioned us getting a meal just to clear the air. Again, I told her no. I finally said, we ended long ago because of your actions. It took me a long time to get over what was lost. I do not intend to revisit a relationship with you. She said, okay. She understood where we stand. I did say I did not have a problem with her coming over to visit our son until he gets back to his place. I thanked her for cleaning up, but it was not necessary. Thank you all for the encouragement and kind words, but I will make it through this. My heart has hardened. Oh, P, the way you handled this situation was outstanding. Your ex is now a wreck emotionally, while you are making progress and bettering your life. The fact that she lied to you for 14 years is insane. Your main and only focus now should be on your son. As expected, your ex is trying to crawl back to you and restore the relationship you guys had after her affair partner left her and she realized how much of a wreck her life is. At the end of the post, you mentioned that your heart has been hardened by this situation. I would recommend continuing to seek therapy so that you can truly find peace with the pain your wife has caused you. Focus on yourself and your son, and good for you for taking full charge of this situation and not being a doormat. Thanks for taking your time to listen to today's story. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and comment below on what your thoughts are on today's story. If there's a story you would like me to share, then please do not hesitate to contact me via email. Take care, everyone.